Santa Barbara. Good morning, Iloilo. Good morning, Philippines. In pre-bid conferences, we are reminded of so many things. There are things that we need to prioritize, while there are things that don't need immediate action. Let me share with you this thought. ASAP or ASAP does give you two different meanings. One is as soon as possible, and the other one is always say a prayer. Shall we pray? Heavenly Father, we come together in your name, grateful for the opportunity to gather in unity. We thank you for the blessings of this day and the purpose of this pre-bid conference. We humbly ask for your guidance and wisdom as we discuss the matters at hand. Grant us the clarity of thought and the compassion of heart to make decisions that honor you and benefit all. May your presence be felt among us throughout this pre-bid conference, guiding our words and actions. In your name we pray. Amen. Our procurement head, Engineer Elna Nepomuceno, will now call the roll.
Good morning once again. I would like to present to you the members of Bids and Awards Committee of Iloilo 4th District Engineering Office. We have Engineer Eva Isbidonia as back chairperson, Engineer Gemma H. Tamagos as back member, Engineer Jaime E. Sumagaysay as back provisional member, Engineer Madonna Mi E. Sadaba as back provisional member, end user for construction projects, and Miss D.B.L. Amper as back secretariat member. We would like to inform the committee that we are invited the following observers. However, they failed to attend for this pre-bid conference. We are hoping that they are joining with us through live streaming. May I turn over this to Engineer Eva Isbidonia for our pre-bid conference.
Good morning once again. Since the members of Bids and Awards Committee are in quorum, I declare this pre-bid conference in order. And we have 12 contracts ID to be pre-bid this morning. And for the first contract, we have contract ID 24GI0036, construction of multipurpose building, Leganes, Iloilo, located Leganes, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act, RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,999,500 pesos. In the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, two-story building with roof deck, including electrical, plumbing, sanitary, and mechanical works, includes 3 air conditioning unit as per plan and specification, and we have 61 calendar days for the contract duration. For the next contract, we have contract ID 24GI0037, construction of multipurpose building, Gymnasium, Pavia, Iloilo, located at Pavia, Iloilo, with approved funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act, RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos. With the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, covered gym, 19 meters by 24 meters dimension, including plain and reinforced concrete, column footing, double tie beam, column and roof beam, roof framing, and roof including the salakot on one side, fascia frame, fascia cover, and flashing on one side, and gutter on both sides as per plan and specification, with a contract duration of 142 calendar days. The next contract is contract ID 24GI0038, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Bagumbayan, Santa Barbara, Iloilo, located at Santa Barbara, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act, RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of work, construction of additional one span of multipurpose building gym with 13 meters by 26 meter dimension, upgrading of floor slab, painting of columns, provision of fiberglass board with ring, and electrical works as per plan and specification, with 134 calendar days for the contract duration. The next contract is contract ID 24GI0039, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Sangcate, Santa Barbara, Iloilo, located at Santa Barbara, Iloilo, with approved funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, 14 meter by 28.5 meters covered gym with 6-span footing, column, tie beams, SOF, roof framing, ring holder with 2 storm drainage downspout, and electrical as per plan and specification, with 138 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0040, construction of multipurpose building, Banagan, Leon, Iloilo, located at Leon, Iloilo, with approved funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, 14.5 meter by 28.6 meter covered gym with 6-span footing, column, tie beams, SOF, roof framing, ring holder with 2 storm drainage downspout, and electrical as per plan and specification, with 140 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0041, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Barasan, Oeste, Santa Barbara, Iloilo, located at Santa Barbara, Iloilo, with approved funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, gym with 16 meter by 30 meter dimension as per plan and specification, with 190 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0042, construction of multipurpose building, Sitio, Sapa, Barangay San Antonio, San Miguel, Iloilo, located at San Miguel, Iloilo, with approved budget funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of work, construction of multipurpose building, 15 meters by 28 meter covered gym with 6-span footing, column, tie beams, SOF, roof framing, roofing with 2 storm drainage downspout, and electrical works, glass fiber ring with ring holder as per plan and specification, with a contract duration of 140 calendar days. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0043, construction or completion of multipurpose building, Barangay Balud 1, Zarraga, Iloilo, located at Zarraga, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 2,970,000 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of additional one span of multipurpose building, gym with 16.9 meter by 7.0 meter dimension, upgrading of floor slab with finished floor line of 0.6 meter from existing slab, replacement of roofing on stage, construction of 24.5 meter of concrete fence, and painting of column, existing and new, stage, wall and ceiling, and new fence as per plan and specification, 57 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0044, construction of multipurpose building, Barangay Tacuyong, Norte, Leon, Iloilo, located at Leon, Iloilo. The funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975, with approved budget for the contract of 4,950,000 pesos, with the scope of works, construction of multipurpose building, 15 meter by 26.5 meter covered gym with 6-span footing, column, tie beams, SOF, roof framing, roofing with 2 storm drainage downspout, and electrical works, glass fiber ring with ring holder as per plan and specification, with 138 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0045, construction of road Tagsing Santa Barbara, Iloilo, located at Santa Barbara, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975 with approved budget for the contract of 6,930,000 pesos with the scope of works, construction of concrete road, Barangay Road with 46 calendar days for the contract duration. Next contract is contract ID 24GI0046, construction of road, Barangay Talakwan, Leon, Iloilo, located at Leon, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975 with approved budget for the contract of 9,800,000 pesos. Scope of works, construction of concrete road, Barangay Road, with 60 calendar days for the contract duration. And for the last contract, we have contract ID 24GI0047, preventive maintenance of road, asphalt overlay, Iloilo Capiz Road, New Road, kilometer 12 plus 993 to kilometer 13 plus 543, located at Leganes, Iloilo, with a funding source of FY 2024 General Appropriation Act RA number 11975 with approved budget for the contract of 19,600,000 pesos with a scope of works 50 mm thick asphalt overlay of 2.26 lane kilometer road with 74 calendar days for the contract duration.
Eligibility requirements, we have for Class A documents and for Class B documents. For Class A documents, we have the legal documents, technical documents, and financial documents. For legal documents, the registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry for sole proprietorship or Cooperative Development Authority for cooperatives. Another, mayor's permit or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. And the third is the tax clearance per EO 398, series of 2005, as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. For technical documents, we have the valid pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint venture and registration for the type and cost of contract to be bid. For contract ID 24GI0036, 24GI0037, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, and 43, and 44. The license category is C and D, kind of project GB-1 for building or industrial plant, and the size range is small b. For contract IDs 24GI0045, 46, and 47, the license category is C and D. The kind of project is GE-1 for roads, highways, pavement, railways, airport, horizontal structure, and bridges. The size range is small b. For the statement of the bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. The statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, similar to the contract to be bid. We have the adjusted to current prices using Philippine Statistic Authority consumer price indices, and it must be at least 50% of the ABC to be bid, provided, however, that contractor under small a and small b categories without similar experience on the contract to be bid may be allowed to bid if the cost of such contract is more than the allowable range of contract cost
of the registration based on the guidelines as prescribed by the PICAB. And a contract must be considered similar to the contract to be bid if it has the following categories. For contract IDs 24 GI 00 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 and 44, we have the major category of works for buildings construction without piles, low-rise concrete frame from 1 to 5 stories. And the similar categories of work are the following. For building construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame, cast and place piles. For building construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame, cast and place piles. For building construction with piles, high-rise concrete frame driven piles. For building construction with piles, low-rise concrete frame driven piles. For building construction without piles, high-rise concrete frame. For building industrial plant, low-rise. For building industrial plant, high-rise. And for building industrial plant, medium-rise. For contract IDs 2445, GI 0045 and 46, the major category of works for roads construction, Portland cement concrete pavement, and the similar categories of work for roads rehabilitation, Portland cement concrete pavement, and for road construction, tunnel, Portland cement concrete pavement. For contract ID 24GI 0047, the major category of works for road construction, asphalt. Similar categories of work for road rehabilitation is asphalt. For the financial documents, the bidders audited financial statements showing, among others, the bidder's total and current assets and liabilities stamped received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. The bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, or the NFCC, must be at least equal to the approved budget for the contract, computed using the prescribed formula. The NFCC is the current assets minus current liabilities times 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portion of the projects under the ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. The values of the domestic bidder's current assets and current liabilities shall be based on the latest audited financial statements submitted to the BIR. For Class B documents for joint ventures, the valid joint venture agreement in accordance with the RA 4566 and its IRR. Each partner of the joint venture shall submit their respective fellowship certificates of registration in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of this IRR. The submission of the accordance with Section 8.5.2 of this IRR, the submission of technical and financial eligibility documents by any of the joint venture partners constitutes compliance, provided that the partner responsible to submit the NFCC shall likewise submit the statement of all of its ongoing contracts and audited financial statements.
For submission and receipt of bids, we have the first envelope, the technical proposal, and the second envelope, the financial proposal. One original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of each bid. Note that prior to the sale of bidding documents, only the following documents are required from the prospective bidders, to wit, company ID or any government-issued ID, authorization letter, if not authorized liaison officer in the CWA, the special power of attorney for sole proprietorship or board, partnership, or joint venture resolution with secretary certificate for corporation, partnership, joint venture, or cooperative. For the contents of the first envelope, the technical proposal, we have the valid and updated certificate of PhilJEP's registration under Platinum membership in compliance to GPPB Resolution 15-2021 dated October 14, 2021, issued in accordance with the amended Section 8.5.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Next is pickup license and registration or special pickup license if joint venture. Statement of all ongoing government and private contracts. Statement of SLCC, the NFCC computation, and joint venture agreement if applicable. The original copy of bid security in the prescribed form, amount, and validity period, if the form of the surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. For the bid validity period, 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. For bid security validity period, we have 120 calendar days from the date of submission of bids. For the following form of the bid security and corresponding amount of bid security, we have cash or cashier's manager's check issued by a universal or commercial bank, 2% of the approved budget of the contract. For the bank draft guarantee or irrevocable letter of credit issued by a universal and commercial bank, we have 2% of the approved budget for the contract. Next is the surety bond callable upon demand issued by a surety or insurance company duly certified by the Insurance Commission as authorized to issue such security. We have 5% of approved budget for the contract. Project requirements, which shall include the following: organizational chart for the contract to be bid, list of contractors' personnel, project manager, project engineers, materials engineer, and foreman to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data. Next is the list of contractors' major equipment units which are owned, leased, and or under purchase agreements supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project as the case may be. The original duly signed omnibus sworn statement and, if applicable, original notarized secretary's certificate in case of corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the omnibus sworn statement and do acts to represent the bidder. For the contents of the second envelope, we have the financial proposal, the original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form in accordance with the form prescribed in Section 10, bidding forms of bidding documents. Next, original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities. Next, duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in the coming up with the bid. And lastly is the cash flow by quarter.
Bid evaluation. The financial component of the bids of each pass bidder shall be evaluated using non-discretionary criteria, including arithmetical corrections for computational errors, and thus determine the correct total calculated bid prices. The Bids and Awards Committee shall automatically disqualify any total calculated bid price which exceeds the approved budget for the contract. The following factors are to be considered in the evaluation of the bid prices. First, completeness of the bid. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bidding documents, including the bill of quantities, shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. Next, no price and required item shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. Next, indicating a zero or a dash free to the government and all prices are deemed to include all taxes. For arithmetical corrections, we have first, bid prices in figures versus words, words prevail. Total price per item versus unit price per item as extended or multiplied by the quantity of the item, unit price prevails. Next, total price versus actual sum of component items, actual sum prevails. And unit cost and detailed estimate versus unit cost and bill of quantities prevails. And total calculated bid prices as evaluated and corrected for computational errors and other bid modifications which exceed the approved budget for the contract shall be disqualified.
Or post-qualification. The post-qualification shall verify, validate, and ascertain the veracity, authenticity, and validity of all Class A eligibility documents, supporting the PhilGIP Certificate of Registration and membership in accordance with Section 8.5.2 of the revised IRR of RA 9184, and all the other statements made and documents submitted by the bidder using non-discretionary criteria. These criteria shall consider but shall not limited to the following. For legal requirements, to verify, validate, and ascertain licenses, certificates, permits, and agreements submitted by the bidder and the fact that it is not included in any blacklist as provided in Section 25.3 of the revised IRR of RA 9184. For technical requirements, verification and validation of the bidder's stated competence and experience, and the competence and experience of bidders, key personnel to be assigned to the project. Verification of availability and commitment and or inspection and testing of the required capacities and operating conditions of equipment units to be owned, leased, and purchased by the bidder for use in the contract under the bidding. Failure of the prospective bidder to state the complete technical description of the pledged equipment and the specific location shall result the bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award of contract and forfeiture of its bid security per DEO number 58 series of 2012. Checking the performance of the bidder in its ongoing government and private contracts. If any of these ongoing contracts shows negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works and to complete ongoing contracts in the prescribed date after receipt of the notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contract with pending certificates of acceptance in the prescribed date after the receipt of the notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality of works or unsatisfactory performance per contract term and condition at the time of inspection. DEO number 127 series of 2018, a strict application of RA 9184 in the conduct of the post-qualification of bidders with delayed ongoing contracts with the DPWH. Note, if the BAC verifies any of these deficiencies to be due to the contractor's fault or negligence, the agency shall disqualify the contractor from the award. The ascertainment of the authenticity of the bid security in its correctness as to type, amount, form, and wordings and validity period as required in the bidding documents. For financial requirements, to verify, validate, and ascertain the bid price proposal of the bidder, and whenever applicable, the required committed line of credit in the amount specified in over the period stipulated in the bidding documents, or the bidder's NFCC to ensure that the bidder can sustain the operating cash flow of the transaction. Notes on the personnel and equipment requirements of the project. As per DEO number 09 series of 2012, the technical requirements for civil works projects for public bidding. If a proposed key technical personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time of the bidding, the bidder shall submit a certification that, number 1, the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded the contract. And number two, she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office. The bidder may propose a key technical personnel who is not each employee, provided that the said personnel is required to submit a certification that she will work for the bidder if it is awarded a contract under bidding. This certification shall be included in the first envelope of the sealed bid. Also to be verified during the post-qualification is the set of equipment pledged by the bidder. The bidders should specify in the submitted bid the location of the equipment where they can be inspected. If any equipment is not in a specified location, then the bidder shall be post-disqualified. The list of key personnel of all projects. For the position of project manager, the minimum years of similar experience is 5 years. And 5 years also a minimum years of total work experience. For project engineer, 3 years of minimum years of similar experience and 3 years of minimum years of total work experience. For project inspector, 2 years of minimum years of similar experience and 2 years of minimum years of total work experience. For materials engineer 1, 2 years of minimum years of similar experience and 2 years of minimum years of total work experience. For safety officer, 1 year of minimum year of similar experience and 1 year minimum years of total work experience. For foreman, 1 year of minimum years of similar experience and 1 year of minimum years of total work experience. The key equipment units may be owned, leased, or under purchase agreement supported by the certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor vendor of the duration of projects. The list of key equipment units may be referred to the invitation to bid. The proof of ownership of equipment requirements are copies of current LTO official receipt and certificate of registration of the equipment, which should be attached together with the affidavit of ownership. In case of leased equipment, a lease contract and affidavit of commitment should be submitted with the lessor owner of as the pledger of the equipment, stating therein that the equipment will be available the whole durations of the project. For purchase agreement, the description of the equipment to be purchased as brand, model, type of equipment, motor, number, body number, and the capacity must be indicated in the documents. Otherwise, the bank will not honor the purchase agreement and the bidder will be declared as non-complying. Likewise, list of contractors' major equipment unit pledged to be used for the project must be supported by proof of ownership it is owned. Lease agreement if it is being leased, and purchase agreement if to be purchased. A certification of availability of equipment for the duration of the project must also be provided by the equipment owner, lessor, or vendor. Prospective bidders, contractors are likewise required for the inclusion of the minimum materials testing equipment in a technical component to the bid in compliance to DEO number 11, series of 2017, superseding DEO number 80, series of 1990, and all other issuances like DEO number 8, series of 1996, and DEO number 138, series of 2015. All documents in support of the ownership of equipment pledge, the certificate of registration, the current LTO official receipt, sales invoice official receipt, if applicable, and other documents photocopied from the original shall be legible, readable, and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Corollarily, DO number 58 series of 2012 dated 29/2012 further provides the inclusion of material data and the pledge equipment of the bidder by requiring all bidder contractor to fully comply with the contract minimum equipment requirements as prescribed in the bid documents. A complete technical description of the pledged equipment, whether owned or leased, such as but not limited to the engine number, year model, chassis number, plate number, production and load capacity, availability, and operating condition. In addition, bidders were also required to state in their bid documents the particular place or site where the equipment are located as provided for DO number 09 of Series Note 2012. That failure to comply with the said requirement shall result in a bidder's automatic post-disqualification for award and forfeiture of its bid security.
Contract award. The contract shall be awarded to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated and responsive bid as a result of a detailed evaluation and post-qualification conducted. Contract award should be made within the bid validity period, and take note that subcontracting is not allowed. Here are the common reason for rejection of bids and eligibility and post-disqualification of bidder. First, failure to submit the original copy of the surety bond certified by Insurance Commission, indicating the name of project, the procuring entity, and name of contractor. Shorter bid validity and bid security validity period. Overlapping of pledged equipment and committed key technical personnel. Failure to indicate the validity of bid in the bid form. Late submission of bid. Failure to submit supporting documents such as certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project if equipment pledge is to be leased or purchased. Negative slippage of at least 15% in any one project, or negative slippage of at least 10% in each of two or more contracts. And unsatisfactory CIPS rating. Another common errors in submission of bids. Incomplete pages of bid, technical and financial documents. Authority of the signatory to sign on behalf of the bidder. And under that, we have the single proprietor. Signatory should be the owner or proprietor only. Corporation or cooperative, board secretary certificate, and board resolution. Joint venture resolution or agreement. And for the partnership, as indicated in the article of partnership. And for the schedules, deadline of submission of clarification and amendment is on January 22, 2024. Addressed to Sanchez E. Caigo, Chief Construction Section, Chairperson Bids and Awards Committee, with email address caigo.santia@dpwh.gov.ph, or Elna P. Nepomuceno, Head Procurement Unit, with email address nepomuceno.elna@dpwh.gov.ph. And the deadline for submission of bids is on January 31, 2024 at 9 o'clock in the morning. And number of copies of bid proposal is one original copy of the first technical and second financial envelope of its bid. And place of submission of bids is at the back or Procurement Office, DPWH Iloilo 4th DEO. To all prospective bidders, you may submit your bid either electronically or manually pursuant to Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020, and submit your queries, if any, until January 22, 2024, at least 10 days from the opening of bids. Okay, that's all for this morning. Our pre-bid conference adjourned at exactly 10:45 in the morning.